Hello everybody and welcome to HTF Bets. I'm your host Riley Sheppard. We have a jam-packed show today with the NFL regular season kicking off tonight and week 1 of college football in the rearview mirror. And I don't want to waste any time, so without further ado, HTF Bets starts now. Everybody, as I mentioned earlier, I'm your host Riley Sheppard. Joining me to my left is my co-host Jeffrey Laux, and in his first appearance as a co-host, Doug Smethurst. Doug, how does it feel sitting at the big desk today?
I feel like a big boy now. I'm truly honored. I mean, this is a huge opportunity, so.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. And as we will every week, the first thing we need to go over is our Beast Best Bust, where we will discuss who dominated last week and who may need to get back in the weight room. Jeff, you had our beast for this week. Who's your beast?
Mr. Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, I might not think you're going to win this weekend against Kentucky, but last weekend you were phenomenal. Against Utah in the packed-out swamp, it was 90,000 people in the swamp all at once. Steamy weather, perfect conditions for a UF, the swamp game, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It was like vintage. So I believe that Anthony Richardson has shown a lot of scouts over this past game of why he can make that next jump to the next level. 275
total yards, 17 for 24 from the air, along with 11 rushes for 106 yards against number 7 Utah. What a finish to that game.
Yeah, and the thing about it that was really interesting was, like I said, the swamp. It was really draining Utah at the end there. You saw them, they were getting slow feet, they weren't reacting fast enough, and then UF was just throwing in some depth pieces, and UF's team was just more deep, and they know how to play in that weather. And Utah is not like Florida. The humidity, just everything on top of you, is probably just insane from a Utah player's point of view.
Doug, and actually I have a question about this game. Do you think if this game was played in Utah, Gators have that same performance, even Anthony Richardson? Or do you think they benefited from being in front of 90,000 fans at packed swamp?
I agree with you on the later, because UF is just different. When you're there and for a UF FSU game, it's just different. The fans are crazy, they're rabid, they're screaming at you. You come out of the locker room, you're like, holy crap, people are screaming profanity at me. What the heck? What did I do? These Utah players probably weren't ready for just the loudness, the humidity, and everything involved. So I agree. I think that if they took it back to Utah or brought it to a neutral site like they did the FSU-LSU game, might have been a different outcome.
What do you think this game means for UF going forward this season?
I think
it's a big win that early.
It's a big win, but they can't let it get to their heads because they're about to hit the SEC sleigh, and the SEC this year is strong in the back end. Like you can see teams like Vanderbilt. And Kentucky's been good the past couple of years. Kentucky is a sleeper team in the SEC East. They always come out, make second or third place right behind UF, UGA, or they're always there. So I think this upcoming weekend is going to be the ultimate test for them because it means, can we play in the SEC right now?
And we all stayed with college football. For our Beast Best Bust, my best of the week has to go to Kirby Smart and the Georgia offense. A 49-3 win over Oregon on Saturday. The biggest win against two ranked teams in the opening weekend. Even though Georgia lost 15 players to the NFL draft, most ever by a school in NFL draft history in one draft, Stetson Bennett went off 368 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Kenny McKinnish, 135 total yards. And Georgia converted their first 9 third downs. And that is incredible. 9 for 10 total on the day. The last one, obviously, was just in garbage time. But a win that early against number 11 Oregon just shows how dominant Georgia is going to continue to be after their national championship win last season. And is Georgia national championship contenders once again?
Oh, always. I mean, and I know our previous show talked about it with the 12-team expansion. You're going to see UGA a lot more now, but you're also going to see teams that are the wild card factors and that can knock out UGA. It's not going to be Bama, UGA, Clemson, your typical Power 5 conference people. I think UGA has a way better chance to get back there now, though, in 2026.
Is UGA your national favorite once again?
No, obviously Bama's going to be number 1, but listen. They looked incredible. They looked like they have not missed a beat from last season, and it's carrying right over to this season. They're going to give Bama a run for their money again. and we'll see what happens come playoff time.
Oh, I agree. And can we all agree that this is running back you at this point? I mean, Sony
No,
Michel,
yeah.
Nick Chubb, and Todd Gurley sitting on the same bench, and then they're pumping out running backs every year in this draft. I mean, if you keep on getting these running backs to commit to your school, I mean, they're going to keep on being great. So.
Running backs and defensive
Yeah.
players. They
I was
just
just about
pump
to touch on
out
that,
NFL
yeah.
stars left and right.
It's
No,
crazy.
and last season, their historic defense, one of the best we've ever seen in college football. They gave up 300 yards against Oregon, but only 3 points. Do you think this defense may match up to last season, or do you think it's going to take maybe a step back?
Oh, 100%. And the thing people say about, the first game of the season, the offense is always going to look better than the defense. And I think that Oregon, they're always known for having a high-flying offense, and they're going to get their yards regardless. But the scoreline is what matters at the end of the day. And you hold a team to 3 points, any top-tier team to 3 points, that is a huge win, especially for confidence.
Yeah, Doug, really quick, who is your bust from this week? Who is just completely crap the bed? Who did not perform how you thought they were going to?
So the embarrassment of the week, I gotta go Iowa offense. They won 7-3 versus a FCS opponent in South Dakota State. You'd think they win by like 40. No, they put up 166 total yards. They had 10 total first downs. Guess how many times they punted? 10. This was a joke. The defense scored more points than them. Defense put up 4 points. Offense put up 3. This was just an embarrassment. The quarterback had a QBR of 1.1 in this game. Like, they had 2 turnovers. What could have been their first touchdown, they fumbled at the 7-yard line. Like, this was just a joke performance, especially in front of your home crowd in the season opener. But what a joke.
Now on the contrast, UCF faced an FBS opponent. Not an FBS opponent, but we did face. We had a big win this past weekend, and it was the complete opposite, pretty much of what Iowa did offensively. 56-10 win.
How do you invite a team into your territory and then get beat there? Like that's the most embarrassing thing ever. Remember when UF lost, I think it was 4 years ago, they lost, I believe it was Townsend or one of those teams. They came to the Swamp and they beat them in a packed out Swamp.
And even, what was it last year, FSU with Jacksonville State?
Yeah, how do you pay a team to come to your stadium and just absolutely manhandle you in front of all your fans? That would be totally
It's just an
embarrassing.
embarrassment. at that
Yeah,
point.
I mean, most teams, opening weekend especially, will face a lesser opponent, somebody they think that they can just run the door through. And that's kind of what we did. That's what UCF always does first weekend. And like you said, that's kind of a game that it's like a practice squad game. You throw your second, third stringers in towards the end, just get everybody runs. But that was an embarrassment.
Like in my book, I'm putting an L next to Iowa.
Yeah.
Like if
7-3
this goes
win.
to overtime because the defense doesn't get 2 safeties, they maybe lose this game because the kicker even missed a 40-yard field goal. Like, it's just inexcusable to play like this.
I have a quick question, though, just based back on Anthony Richardson. Let's say he declares this upcoming year. What system fits him best? Because there's a scout, the Utah head coach, Mr. Kyle Whittingham, actually said he's going to get his NFL payday. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, and runs like a 4.3. He's a terrific player. If a head coach is saying that after the first game, where do you think he fits on an NFL roster right now?
Doug, you can go first. I need a second to think about that, actually.
I mean, for quarterback standpoint, he's not a prolific passer, so that's going to really hurt him come draft time. But he is still one heck of an athlete, and he probably will get drafted, don't get me wrong. But he's not going to be a first-round talent, second-round talent.
That's not what I'm hearing.
All right.
That's not what the little birdie's saying.
What? So 1 year, all of a sudden, you become a first-round pick? One game?
Little
One
birdie,
game, you're a
no.
first-round pick?
No, he was already projected first or second round last time. Anyways, he's going to go 15-20. Mark my words. You can put this down
I'm
on
gonna hold
paper.
you to that.
15-20, first round next
Yeah.
year.
No.
We have to go to a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere because we have fantasy football right after this, and we have a guest star, so don't go anywhere.
Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
gosh.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna.
God.
The NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back to the fantasy football segment of the show, and for this week we are joined by none other than Dominic Moeller. Dominic, we finally have some regular season football tonight with the Bills traveling to LA to face off against Super Bowl champion Rams. How excited are you to finally have football back, especially with this fantastic season opener?
I mean, hey, aren't we all excited a little bit to finally have some football back? I mean, you're going out to get maybe some wings or something, and what do you see on TV? The MLB. I mean, a snooze fest going on here. So finally we have something to actually watch when you're eating those wings. I'm happy that the NFL's back. The Bills, Rams, great first game to finally open the season. It started off with a bang. I'm thinking this game's not going to be too crazy of a game, but a very close, competitive game. I'm going to have to go with 24-17, though, on the game, the score line. I think Josh Allen shows us why he is the best quarterback in the league right now over Pat Mahomes, but a lot to see.
And you kind of did give a little sneak peek on what we're diving into today. We are ranking our top 5 fantasy quarterbacks, along with debating Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams' values in fantasy draft. With our showrunner draft behind us, some of us lucked out with these picks, but others may need to do some digging in the waiver wire. Dom, you're going to get us started. Who are your top 5 fantasy football quarterbacks going into the season?
Well, hey, listen, we got our usual 3 suspects. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, in that order. But my next 2 are going to be a little bit of a surprise here. I got at number 4, I got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the guy in Arizona. He has Marquise Brown, who just absolutely takes over offenses. You saw how he did with Lamar Jackson. However, difference from Lamar Jackson is Kyler Murray is more of a pocket passer. He takes over games. He's able to move. I mean, this guy is just a great young talent. But my 5th is, listen here, folks, fans, aliens, whoever needs to hear it, Russell Wilson needs to be in your top 5 quarterbacks. I mean, this guy just entered an offense that has a more improved offensive line. He's got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, who biggest comparison to them is a DK Metcalf and a better Tyler Lockett. This guy, Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion, let's not forget, is able to just illuminate a whole offense, and I only think he's going to look up more. If you have Lamar Jackson on your top 5, which I know some of you guys do, I'm sorry, news flash. Who's he going to throw to? The referee on the stands? You got Rashad Bateman as your number 1. Mark Andrews is going to be constantly getting hit. I mean, we're living in the real world, aren't we? We can't be thinking Lamar Jackson's going to be top 5. He was top 8 playing last year, finished 15th. Injuries, they're running him into the ground. Enough said for them.
And I had two different reactions to your last pick. I had a shaking his head yes and shaking his head no about that Russell Wilson pick. Doug, what do you have to say about that Russell Wilson top 5?
Russell Wilson, every year starts as an elite, top 5 quarterback, first 6 weeks, and then what happens? He falls off.
Who's his team? Who is he playing for?
Broncos. He has 2 mid receivers.
Whoa.
Cortland Sutton, 1,000-yard season. Are you guys kidding me? And you guys want to say these receivers are elite? Jerry Jeudy hasn't broken 1,000 yards.
Doug, who do you have in your top 5?
We'll get to that in a minute. I also want to debut Kyler Murray. I want to argue Kyler Murray.
I had one thing to say about Kyler Murray. In the first half of last season, yes, you're absolutely right. What did they go 1-7 or over the last 8 games or something? He took a huge step back. That's the only reason I don't have Kyler in my top 5. But Doug, you can go ahead.
Well,
okay.
listen, yes,
All right.
Kyler adds value as a runner, yes. But you wanted to say who's Lamar Jackson throwing to? Who's Kyler throwing to? Marquise Brown, who dropped like 5 touchdowns
Are we
last year?
forgetting that D-Hop will be back in the middle of the season?
But yes, he's still missing him like half the year. Like what?
That still equates to fantasy points. You still got to think about when you're winning the championship in fantasy, who would you rather have as a guy as your quarterback? Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar
in the
Jackson
championship?
any day.
Who is he? He's throwing to Rashad
He's more
Bateman.
dynamic.
What?
He's more electric.
What? We are talking about more electric guy than Kyler Murray, who has D-Hop, who
Who's
we're all
again
forgetting
missing
against
half
the
the
Buffalo
season.
Bills made a Hail Mary catch that I don't think anybody in the NFL
He can't
could have
do that
made.
while on the sideline suspended.
He's coming. I'm saying in the championship, the fantasy championship game, which is
Oh,
held at the very end of the year.
Very end of the year, if you make
Yes,
the
who
championship
would you rather
with
have,
Kyler.
Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson?
Well, that's going to come on a matchup basis. Because he still has Mark Andrews,
You're
who's
gonna
a
have
very
Lamar,
elite
You're going to have
receiver.
Lamar Jackson, who's going to need a cane to
But
walk off
Rashad
the
Bateman's
field.
going to be a really good receiver.
Jeff,
for
He
you
them.
doesn't
actually-
have
you-
his tackle. He lost his whole line.
Jeff, you actually have Lamar in your top 5. You don't have Kyler.
Yeah. What are we thinking?
Let's
here,
talk
guys?
about this. I have a few bones to pick with you. Look, I am not a sympathizer with Lamar Jackson. I am a diehard Browns fan. I hate the Ravens. I hate Steelers. I hate the Bengals, even though the Bengals are little brothers. Anyways, back to the story. Lamar Jackson, he has made chicken salad out of chicken poop. You know that saying. He's made it because he had, 3 running backs last season go down in the first week. Now he gets back J.K. Dobbins. He gets back the Gus Bus. He gets back a lot of good running back quality. And also his offensive line is coming back. And that's a little shaky, but he can dip and dive. The thing about Kyler Murray that scares me is that multiple years he's had consistency with head coaching, with everything. I know Harbaugh is wonderful, but Greg Roman's system is a little bit flawed at times. Kyler Murray is put into a great system. He's giving great wide receivers. Christian Kirk, he just got his payday in Jacksonville, and that's not due to Kyler Murray. That's due to Christian Kirk making plays. Kyler Murray is a wonderful player. I can see him in the top 10. But I just don't think he can elevate his players above another level. And that's why I agree with the Russell Wilson pick, because Russell Wilson elevates everyone around him. And you saying he doesn't have a top 5 Broncos wide receiver corps? Are you insane?
Yes.
Are you insane?
And he's in a run-first offense.
Are you insane?
Yeah,
They're going
if
to
you can
run
name
like
5
25,
better
30
receiver
times a
corps.
game.
And guess what? That opens
that
up,
takes away from his fantasy value.
It doesn't matter.
What are you
It
trying to
opens
say?
up the passing game for play actions. And guess what?
What
Russell
was he going to do?
Russell Wilson.
Get 400 yards on 15
Listen to me.
passes?
Listen to me. Listen
What?
to me. Russell Wilson hasn't had an O-line his past 5 years with the Seahawks. He's literally been running for his life. Now they replace him with Drew Lock. He's going to be, gone after week 2 because they have no O-line. Guess what about the wide receivers? They had Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, just like he said. Those are nowhere near the caliber of these players right now because DK Metcalf.
They're better.
No, they're not. No, they're
you
not.
kidding me?
Tyler Lockett is entering age 31 right now.
Thank you.
DK
And
Metcalf
he's
is coming off
still
a down
very good.
season.
Preach, Jeff.
It's just the
Talk
potential.
that
You guys are
wild,
wild.
Jeff.
You guys are wild. That's all I'm
You
gonna
know,
say.
Anyways,
I agree
I just want to throw the
100%,
conversation back at Riley because I'm really interested in hearing some of the controversial picks he has soon.
No, and there's one player that I do want to touch on because none of you, I don't believe any of you had him in your top 5. Defending Super Bowl champion Matt Stafford has arguably the best receiver in the league in Cooper Kupp. What was the reason, Dom? What was the reason that he was not
All
in your
right,
top 5?
listen, guys. Matthew Stafford, great guy. We're talking about fantasy football here, folks. We're not talking about how they play in the real world.
He was
over
second
here.
in touchdowns and 3rd in passing yards last season. He was a
could be
top 5
great.
quarterback last season.
I
And
think-
his remaining
I
his
think
entire
Gary the
core.
Snail runs faster than him in a real game. Like, he's not running the ball. If he gets more rushing touchdowns than the 5 that I've named, then I'll wear a bikini on set. Like, come on, folks.
Put that down.
We're talking about fantasy football here. I also saw you had Tom Brady. Listen, great passers. Don't get me wrong. But they can't run.
But they were both top 5 last season, and they couldn't run.
Listen, you can say whatever. I agree. I love that point that you made. But now Lamar Jackson was also injured. He's not going to be top 5. He's taking points away. Kyler Murray is. Why are we not talking about Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson? My guys that I've said. They run. They get rushing yards. They pound the rock. And they open up an offense to actually do more with it.
What does
Tom
Lamar
Brady's
do?
One-dimensional. And I love the guy. Love him. Great
1,000
guy.
rushing yards from Lamar, that's an additional 100 points every year.
Every year. It's ridiculous. And the thing about fantasy now is running with your running QB is so much more value. That's why you see Jalen Hurts going up the board. Jalen Hurts
Because
isn't the
every 10 yards you get a point instead of every 25 passing yards.
Yeah,
I would rather a running quarterback than a straight pocket passer.
Yeah.
I do have one thing, because Mahomes was on all of our top fives pretty much.
That's
Losing
easy.
Tyreek Hill, how does that diminish his value, or does it at all?
I think the big thing with Mahomes is Mahomes was taking a lot more risks last year with Tyreek Hill. He's able to move a lot more, run and gun type of offense. I think this year he's going to have to really settle in and complete his passes, which is only going to improve his fantasy score more. I think they're going to march down the field just about as much, but he's going to have more passing completions, which is just going to be more fantasy points to add on to him.
No, and I agree. I think the balanced receiving core is really going to help Mahomes. But I do want to touch on Tyreek Hill. Doug, what value? Where would you draft him in a typical PPR league?
I mean, he's Tyreek Hill. His speed makes him one of the most dynamic receivers in the game today. But I don't know, with Tua throwing him the ball and not Mahomes, I don't know if I draft him in the first 2 rounds. I'll let other people take that risk. He's a very big risk guy. I'll let other people sit on that risk. If he pans out, great. If not, I'm going to be laughing.
No, and I agree. Dom, really quick, who are you taking first, Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill?
I mean, that's a no-brainer. Davante Adams is the man for fantasy football. You know, Tyreek Hill's going to have Tua, who his arm, he can't even throw anything. Davante Adams over Tyreek Hill.
Guys, that was so much fun, this fantasy football segment, which we will do every week. We will be right back after this quick commercial break to talk about our first sure picks of the week.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
We are back, and as we will every week, we are going to wrap up the show with each of our surefire bets of the week. And since Dominic was so kind enough to stick around for his first surefire bet of the week, we're going to start off with him. Dom, what is the one bet you're locking in?
You know, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I got the Vikings over the Packers. I think A-Rod's going to have to really settle into his system. Sammy Watkins, I think, is going to actually emerge as the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers. But I got Minnesota. This is Kirk Cousins' big coming out party. And, you know, they're a 1.5 point underdog against the Green Bay Packers. Come on, I think the Vikings should be the favorite. And the over-under is 47 points. I'm slamming the under. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game, much like the Bills-Rams, but I'm going to say 21-17 final score.
I think we all stuck with NFL for our surefire bet of the week. Jeff, what's yours?
So, most underrated game of the week, in my opinion, Jacksonville versus the Washington football team, a.k.a. Commanders, a.k.a. Johnny's favorite team. So I believe this is going to be a defensive mastermind matchup because we don't even realize how many first-round picks have really gone on both defensive lines. Like, both defensive lines are full with first- and second-round talents through and through. And I honestly feel that the Jags will edge this Washington team out just based on QB play. And, you know, Grant can side me on this. Carson Wentz likes to turn over the ball. And the Jags like to make him turn it over last season when he visited them in Week 17 as the Colts wanted to clinch the playoff spot, and the Jags made sure Carson Wentz did not do that. They're going to do that again because Washington does not have a better offense than Indianapolis, and I take the Jags by 6. And I also see T-Law breaking out also.
Doug, what's yours?
So I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going Saints -5.5 over the Falcons. The over-under set at 42.5. Forget that. Saints have a great defense. Jameis is healthy. He gets Michael Thomas. Kamara's not getting suspended. They added Jarvis Landry. They got Chris Olave in the draft. This offense should be high-powered. their defense is really good versus a very bad Falcons offense led by Mariota. And they didn't do anything to fix the problems on defense, and which ranked 29th. So look for Saints to score early and often and win by double digits.
Jeff, before I start, did your surefire bet hit last week?
It has not hit yet because I thought so listen to this quick. Last week, I thought NFL season was starting on Sunday, so that's why I predicted on the Browns-Panthers game. But now I'm actually hyped for the football season to start.
So Jeff technically has 2 surefire bets this week. Could go 2-0, could go 0-2. We really hope that it doesn't go 0-2 because that would be really embarrassing for you. But my surefire bet of the week, I stuck with NFL. The Bucs are traveling to Dallas to face off against the Cowboys. And the spread has been changing. It was at 2.5, and now it's at 1.5 last I checked right before the show. But I think both are so disrespectful to Tampa Bay. Brady is 6-0 against Dallas in his career, and that's going to stay perfect on Sunday. Dak had a near-perfect game last season, Week 1, against Brady and the Bucs, and it still wasn't enough. Brady stormed down the field in the last 2 minutes, and they hit a game-winning field goal. Tyron Smith is out for the Cowboys' offensive line, so that's going to leave rookie offensive lineman Tyler Smith to fill that void. Dak is not going to be having as much time in the pocket as he would like. The Bucs are, even though their offensive line is also some question marks there, Brady is going to be Brady. He's going to make those around him better, just as he has done over his 55-year NFL career. Brady and the Bucs are going to cover the spread, whether it's at 1.5, whether it's at 2.5. I'm going to take them winning by 7, and that is my surefire bet of the week. Before we close, anything else you guys wanted to add to your bets?
So I just wanted to add, Washington is favored by its 2.5 right now, but I could honestly see the Jags taking it on them and actually dropping the load on them because no one really understands how good the Jags offense is with Travis Etienne in the offense. Travis Etienne, James Robinson, they just signed Christian Kirk. They have Evan Ingram, young, hungry. He's still wounded from New York Giants. You know, I feel like the Giants never really treated him right. So I feel like Trevor Lawrence actually pairing up with Evan Ingram and being able to connect with a young tight end, I think that would be great for that offense.
Doug, anything before we close?
If you want free money, Saints minus 5.5. I'm betting it with you, and I will not let us lose.
Dom, anything before we close today?
Just wanted to say, touching back a little bit on my bet, I'm 100% going to win you a lot of money by saying that the Vikings are going to beat the Packers. And this is coming from a Chicago Bears fan. Telling you what, Vikings, Dubsies.
Well, you heard it here first. All of us are apparently going to win you some money. I don't think that's going to be necessarily true. I think some of us might lose you some money. It's not going to be me, though, because I am perfect so far through 1 week of surefire bets. With that being said, that is all the time we have for today. For Doug, for Jeff, and for Dom, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next week.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready?